So you want to go from this physique to that physique, and exercise will get you there. But not quite. Only a specific type of exercise will get you the body that you want, and that is resistance training. Resistance training is essentially the act of putting your muscle under resistance, also known as weightlifting or strength training, depending on where you're from. So this video is essentially just a guide and beginner's guide to how to build muscle if you're a beginner or just want to build more muscle. To essentially build muscle, you have to check off 4 different things. Firstly, your mindset. Secondly, your education. Thirdly, the practice. And finally, the training itself. With that being said, let's get right into it. Before wanting to strength train, you have to fix your mindset going into the strength training. What I mean by that is strength training is a lifelong journey. You have to accept that, and it's going to take undue discipline, a lot of effort, and you're going to be uncomfortable all the time. So just accept the fact that you're going to have to do this until the day you die. You must also think in the long term. You won't see results right away, and you have to understand that this is a lifelong journey that may take months or years for you to see your ideal body. And finally, this relates to the past too, but results will take a long time. Most people don't see results for years. I've been training for 4 years now, and I'm still not at the body that I would like. Before moving any further, I want to explain the ideal type of resistance training. For hypertrophic or muscle building exercises, you're going to want to be in the 8 to 12 range. That means 8 to 12 reps per exercise. So the second section, which is education, is the next most important thing for you to build muscle. If you're a beginner, this should be the most important thing for this entire video. It's your education. Education constitutes watching YouTube videos, hiring a personal trainer, or just going on websites and educating yourself on how to do a specific exercise. So let's say I did not know how to do a bench press. I would type it up on YouTube. I'd look up a YouTuber who knows how to do a bench press, and I'd watch and learn how he's doing the specific exercise. This goes for all different types of strength training exercises. YouTube has a ton of free content, but if you're lucky enough to, have the money to hire a personal trainer, that's even better. But, YouTube, educate yourself, look at what the person is doing and try to mimic that. This is where you want to correct your technique. You're looking at the best way and the correct way to do a specific exercise. Think of this as the training before the training. The next step is the practice. So after you understood and looked at the video, let's use the example of bench press. You then go into practice. Here's where you're going to go to the gym and do the exercise. But the key thing here is that when you're doing the exercise, you have to make sure that you're doing it correctly. The best and only way to build muscle is to do the exercise and do it correctly. If someone is doing the exercise incorrectly and is like moving his shoulder and is wiggling, he's not going to build as much muscle or have as much effectiveness compared to someone who is actually doing the exercise correctly. Again, here's where you apply the education that you learned. Record yourself when you're doing an exercise. So again, when you're doing the exercise, record yourself, and in that moment, compare the way you're doing the exercise to someone who's doing it correctly online. That way you maximize your growth and maximize the effectiveness of the workout. And this is not just a one-step process. Continually do this once a week. Every time you go, record yourself and really just study what you're doing correctly or incorrectly. If you're not a beginner, you don't have to do this, but if you're new to the gym or you're somewhat of a beginner, record yourself and make sure that you're doing the exercise correctly. And the final section is the training itself. So now that you've gotten your education down and you've had the application and practice down of doing the exercise, you're gonna have to maximize this through hypertrophic training. So again, as noted earlier, you want to be in the 8 to 12 rep range ideally. You could go up into the 15 rep range or under 8 reps, but if you're a beginner, 8 to 12 reps is the best thing for you. And with that, with the 8 to 12 reps, you're going to want to progressively overload your workouts. What this means is, let's say you're lifting 50 pounds at 12 reps. To progressively overload, you're either going to want to slow down your reps, increase the weight, or increase the amount of reps. So essentially, you're going to make it harder. You're going to make it harder to lift that thing. So instead of lifting 50 pounds, you could either increase that weight to 65 pounds and lift it at 8 reps. And over the weeks, that 65 pounds, even though you can only do 8 reps, is going to slowly increase until you're able to do 12 reps. So then after you get to 65 pounds and 12 reps, you can then increase the weight or lower the speed at which you're lifting. Essentially, guys, you're making the exercise harder. This is the key thing in maximizing and growing muscle. It's by putting more weight on your body and making the exercise harder. Obviously, if you're someone who's never lifted weights before, you're gonna have to start with low weight. But over time, you're gonna notice that that weight that you've been doing is gonna get easier. It's because your muscles are adapting to that weight. So to continuously improve and continuously build muscle, you're gonna have to increase the weight. You're gonna have to make it more challenging, more resistance, and more hard to do that exercise. Anyways, guys, that was the beginner's guide to strength training. Again, just to outline everything. Firstly, you're gonna have to educate yourself. Watch YouTube videos, it's free. Next, you're gonna have to practice what you've learned through recording yourself and looking if you're doing the exercise correctly. And finally, you're gonna have to actually train correctly. 8 to 12 reps if you're a beginner, whatever you want if you're not a beginner, but also progressively overloading. Make it more challenging each week. If you do those things continuously and have the right mindset of it's gonna take a while and you're really gonna have to push yourself, you're gonna see great results, guys. Thanks for watching.